recording up. Nice shots, by the way.
Thank you.
Whew.
I truly feel alive.
No! Okay, sorry.
So be very careful when she's got a railgun charged up, right? You can see it when it's big and blue. Just make sure that you're not staying in one place for too long. Usually whenever you're in those sniper duels, you never want to stay on the same angle for too long. If you miss that first shot or two, then you probably want to rotate and take a different angle, or else they'll probably land their shot on you. Just because your head's so big and juicy. Oh.
No one can resist my spell.
Yeah, we don't now too. Nice to hit.
I think you have a... Oh, there you go.
Conjured flame.
Yep, good job washing for that time.
Oh, sorry. Let me...
Do not provoke me. In
Yeah, very nice.
blood.
Yeah? I'm hitting a lot of shots though, so...
Yeah, you are. Is that not a very consistent thing? Do you not usually hit that many shots?
I mean... It really depends.
Okay. So this is on the better end of games?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay, cool. That's good to know. Yeah, then maybe we can talk about consistency and aim. It's always hard when you have a game where you're just popping off, not much to talk about. But we'll talk about afterwards. Consistency.
No one can resist my spell.
Okay, small efficiencies, like make sure you're reloading so you don't have just one shot left. Well, there you looked away from McCree when he was pretty low and was out in the open.
A dead suppress this target. Nano administered.
Good job dodging those shots. Request healing if you want healing sooner. That'll just be an easy way to get characters to look at you, or your supports too.
True, true.
Good Venom mines overall.
What is that melody?
Next time, say please.
Barrier initialized. Barrier splintering.
You dare touch me.
Oh, pay attention to what your teammates are up to. They were just kind of standing in the front, right? Our tank backed up, and we were still holding close. So, got to be extra careful because that led to death. So, make sure you're not in the front. Don't overstay your welcome. Make sure you're using cover. Maybe you can, once your team starts backing up, you can turn around and grapple back up to high ground or something like that. All right. So while we pause for a second before you hop into your next game, firstly, let me continue with my questions before I get into consistency. What are your goals while playing? Are you playing to improve, have fun, rank up, or just to what was the other one, like win games?
I mean, overall becoming better, but I want to get. I've always want to have like a dream to like be in a high rank in a game, you know.
Okay,
So I really want to like try to reach a high rank in Overwatch,
gotcha.
and yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, so ranking up is the goal, as well as getting better and improving. Okay, and then did you have any, before we get into any other things, did you have any questions for me before we got started?
And I don't know. um, no, I don't
No?
think so.
Okay, cool.
Mm.
So let's talk consistency as well as just what are going to be good things for you to do to be able to achieve your goal. So unfortunately, the last game wasn't like amazing value because like you were just popping off and they never got past choke. So I mean, it wasn't too much to work with. So for future reference, if you're ever interested, that's why replays can be good, is because you can select a good game to go over, and then there are a lot of your ability to go in depth on those and things like that. So for future reference, if you ever wanted to do another session or anything like that, replays are a pretty good option for that reason. So let's talk about a few things. Firstly, let's talk about consistency. Do you tend to warm up before your comp games?
I try to,
Okay,
but
not always.
not always.
Not
Yeah.
always. Okay, try to, but not always. When you do warm up, what does it look like?
I just usually just go into a custom game. I just search aim warm up or
Okay.
something. I just do like that for some
Okay.
time.
Cool. So those are a good way to do it. Like do like 10 minutes, 15 minutes of that, and you should be golden. Just try to do it consistently so that you're getting your aim all warmed up and ready to go before you're hopping into comp. Because if you're hopping in straight and you don't have any warm up beforehand, then your aim's just going to be off because your aim gets rusty really quickly, and you have to kind of get it back into the groove. So that sounds like a good. Usually, you just want high aim intensive game modes, which is why I don't usually recommend like quick play or training range. Just because there are a lot of other distractions besides your aim, and the training range is not high aim intensive. So yeah, doing what you're doing is fine. If you want like other aim trainers, in game or out of game, are great options, or high aim intensive game modes like Widow. You could do Widow headshot only. You could do gun game. You could do aim arena. Different things like that will be good options for that. Let's talk about more aim consistency. Let me stream really quick so you can see my screen. So you say you play most days. Another thing just on consistency, like, is just like, if you don't have the ability to get on and play for a day, even just doing like a 10-minute warm-up can be good just to keep your aim consistent and stop it from deteriorating. So that just help with consistency. So even if you're just able to do that, and then if you want to keep practicing, even while you're like in between queues and stuff like that, doing those aim training modes are going to be great for practicing and keeping your aim fresh. Let's talk about aim style, because from what I noticed, you had a very flicky aim style, and this can lead to inconsistencies with your shots. Firstly, though, I guess before we get into that, just to check really quick, because it's always whenever you're focusing really in on aim, it's good to just make sure that your sensitivity is in a good spot. What's your sensitivity and DPI at?
I don't know what my DPI is, but in Overwatch, let me see. It's 4.75.
Okay, so it's pretty low. So if you have a normal DPI, then you probably should be fine, unless your DPI is like crazy high for some reason. If you do you have a big mouse pad, small mouse pad?
I have a pretty big.
Pretty
It's
big
like
mouse
I can
pad,
have my
okay.
keyboard too, and I
Okay,
have like
cool.
maybe 30 centimeters.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So with the space that you normally use, you're still in game, right? You can go to the training range if you want to, but just this is just a good easy way to check it. Is just from the left side of your mouse pad, take your mouse and put it on the left side and drag it to the right side and see how far you spin. And if your spin is significant, it should be at least a 360, at least, so that you have ability to turn. Because if you're in the middle, you want to be able to do a 180 in either direction. So you have range of motion. But if it's like significantly higher than that, like it's 2 or 3 360s, then that's way too much, and you probably have too high of a sensitivity.
Mm.
So it sounds like you probably
Uh,
have a good one.
Somebody feel alive.
Let me see. I can screen share my screen so you can
Sure.
see. So if I put my mouse at the end of one side of my space,
Yep.
or like relativity,
Where you use it usually.
then it's almost a 360.
Yeah, okay. So that's pretty good. You should be fine with that, especially if you're on Widowmaker. Like you could, so that means that I would imagine you probably have a DPI around 800 or so, which would, or somewhere in that ballpark. Maybe it's a tiny bit lower. You could put it up to where you can do the full 360, but that wouldn't be the end. It's not the end of the world because you're just shy. Doing so, like I said, would just mean that you're able to comfortably do 180s in either direction that you turn. So not what you have seems fine. So if you wanted to, you could up it a hair or not. It's not going to be the end of the world either way. Okay, so that's just a checking thing. Okay, so let's go back to flicking aim style. So flicking is not always a bad thing. Flicking can be very good thing. Flicking is anytime your crosshair needs to travel from point A to point B very quickly. That's a flick. So when realistically, there are times when this is needed, and there's times where this is not needed. And it seems like you tend to use it all the time. And when people who tend to use it all the time might find that they have inconsistent aim, because when you're relying on flicking, you're basically relying on your raw aim. Think of it like you're relying on your raw aim talent. And when you're purely relying on your raw aim talent, you'll have days where you're aiming good, and you'll have days where you're aiming bad. And the days where you're aiming bad, you're just going to miss all your shots. And on the days where you're aiming good, you're going to hit all your shots, right? Kind of how that ends up working. But if you want more consistent aim, then you want to figure out how you can find the best of both worlds, and flick when it's needed, and don't flick when it's not needed. So when is flicking needed? So flicking is needed when you're up against a fast-moving character. So like, let's say Tracer's blinking around you, right? You can't track a Tracer blinking around you, so you kind of have to flick to try to catch up to her, right? Or if somebody sneaks up behind you, you have to kind of flick to kill them, turn around. Or if you're acquiring a new target, so we kill this guy, and then we're flicking from here to here and acquiring a new character, then sure, you can flick from there to there. Or even if you're micro flicking, so they like jump up in the air and you flick up into the air to get them, right? Micro flicks are also fine. But when you don't want to be flicking is when it's not needed. Like when somebody's just walking in a straight line, and they're not using movement abilities, and they're not jumping around, and they're not behind you, you're aiming straight at their head. When you add flicking to the mix, where you're just doing, like, every one of your shots kind of look like this, where you're like doing that, right? Like, or you're going like that, and like and you just like you add in this sharp flicking motion, which means that after the flick, your crosshair just goes off of them, right? So firstly, there's more adjustment. There's an initial adjustment needed, which takes more effort when there's an initial adjustment needed, but then also you're adjusting off of them, which means that you're resetting your shot completely. So now the follow-up shot is equally as difficult as the first one. Whereas if you keep your crosshair on them, once again, with the exception of if they're actually like moving around significantly. If they're moving around, then of course you can flick or do micro flicks. Like if you need to do that to flick up to the head, if you're aiming down here and you need to do that, that's fine. Or they jump up, so you need to do that to hit their head. Go ahead and do the micro flick, but you don't want to be doing these massive flicks if it's making your follow-up shots harder, because then you have to do this again instead of being here already and just following up with another shot just right on their head. Like, or even if like you land a not full power shot, you want to be able to follow up quickly with another shot and not be off of them with your crosshair. So this just all overall, being able to just line up your shots and have good crosshair placement, that is how you can have good aim even when your aim isn't doing great. Before we move to crosshair placement, does all the flicking stuff, does that make sense as to when and when not to?
Yeah, it makes sense, but I noticed that I have a bad habit of maybe like shooting once and hitting, and then on the follow-up shot I flick away.
Yeah. Yep. So it's just it's something to work on for sure. Crosshair placement. We'll go over like the how to work on it soon. But crosshair placement, right? You've been playing for a while. Is that a term you're familiar with?
Yeah.
Yeah. My definition of it is basically just placing your crosshair in the easiest place possible to hit shots as easily as possible. First major step, aim head level. If you're aiming down here, there's a lot more adjustment to hit headshots than if you're aiming here, and you can just go to the sides very easily. If you're just kind of shooting into shields, looking down corridors, shooting into people, you're just naturally hitting body shots if you're aiming down here. But if you're aiming up top, well, now you're naturally hitting headshots, doing all the exact same stuff. This also means pre-aiming. Pre-aiming is another big step to this, is aiming where you know people are going to be. So instead of coming around this corner and just kind of wildly looking around, you're placing your crosshair at head level where you know they're going to be, so you can peek this already aiming at their head. And that'll make shots much easier. Same thing, these guys are on a slope, so the same way you would look down on a Torb and up on a tank, you're going to look down on these guys so that when we turn this corner, we're just already looking at their heads. Much easier shots to land. And you notice how like when you have the shot lined up, you don't need to necessarily do sharp flicks, and that you can just let them potentially even walk into your crosshair, like so, where you just like kind of let them move into it by just placing it in a really good spot, and it also just makes the follow-up shots even easier too. So when your aim's doing poorly, focusing on crosshair placement can be very helpful. And just in general, does all that make sense?
Yeah.
Right. All right. Cool. Why don't we hop into another game, and then maybe while you're queuing, we can talk about application of things. While you're in a queue for your game.
Yeah. Roll queue.
Maten er varm. Maten er varm på hvis du skal spise.
Ok, ja, men jeg må fullføre her først det.
Jeg har ikke begynt engang.
Yeah. You wanted to talk about the application stuff?
Yeah, sure. So, when you're putting this stuff into practice, it can maybe be a little bit difficult, right? The application is always hard to put things into practice, and you want to work on your aim really the same way you're working on anything, and that is that while you're playing, you want to really focus on the thing you're trying to work on. So if it's your aim, then you're playing and you're thinking to yourself, crosshair placement, crosshair placement, crosshair placement. Don't flick if it's not needed. Flick when, like, do I need to flick? Do I need to flick? Do I need to flick? And when you're giving yourself that constant reminder to think about these things instead of just doing it and just playing, then you're actually going to be more effective in what you're doing, and you'll learn and grow. And then that'll make your aim better over time. And then once it gets better, usually they become more habitual, and it remains. Now, with aim deteriorates a bit quicker than some of the other things that you can work on, so you got to kind of keep up with it. But the main principles will apply a lot better, and you'll be able to remember them as you form them into habits. So keep working on them. And then you also, final thing here is, don't try to do everything all at once, just because that becomes overwhelming. Instead, focus on one category of things, or 1 to 3 smaller things within a category, and that way you're not overwhelming yourself with things. All that makes sense?
Yeah,
Right.
I think so.
Cool.
Attackers incoming. Tu vas le regretter. Stop the payload.
So if you're 1 HP, just look to get far away from that corner as you can. Obviously, you need to get healed more, so try to back up. Maybe you can grapple away. You did good on requesting for healing, but just back up even further. Look to stay alive. That might be something that we need to work on, is just making sure that you're alive so you can do more things.
Any last words?
Oh.
I need healing. Merci. Reloading. Personne n'échappe à mon regard. Taking damage.
Okay, so
Yeah.
their snipers are putting a lot of pressure on you. In sniper duels, the enemy snipers need to be your biggest priority, because you can take each other out the easiest, right? You're each other's biggest threat. So once you remove the snipers from the equation, not only are you negating their value to do other things, but you're giving yourself more freedom. So make sure that in these fights that they're the first thing, the Ashe and the Widowmaker are the first things that you're looking to kill, because they'll be your biggest threats.
Okay.
I need healing. You must like having Nanoboost administered.
Yeah.
Nobody can freeze. Don't move. It's getting interesting.
But what times should it be? Because I know that a good widow should be very flexible if to change the character. If what time do you think is like a good time to like change or not? Or
Well, if the map is particularly bad for Widowmaker, that's a good time. I'll get. Maybe we can answer the question after the game's over, so you can focus. But I mean, I wouldn't say necessarily here. I think this is a fine situation to stay Widow, unless you just need to swap to. If you feel like you're being pressured too much by their double sniper, then you could swap to like a dive character to help get on them with your Doomfist.
Such naive. I need no.
Good crosshair placement on the Ashe.
Engage this enemy.
Be careful of your crouches, that they aren't throwing off your shots, because sometimes it seems like you're crouching and messing up your own shots with your crouches. So make sure that
Yeah.
when you're shooting, that you're pausing your crouch or being conscious of your crouch. So maybe I can demonstrate once again after the game's over. Nice.
Do not provoke.
Yep, good job taking the sharp angles against snipers. That's exactly what you want to do.
Yeah.
Maybe even be more patient so you're not revealing your position.
Prepare for your demise.
Oh, okay. So maybe a little bit of awareness, and took us a hair too long to back up from the Sigma, right? Because he was coming with Flux, and we were just slow to grapple away.
Takes more than that to kill a
Let them out.
Don't move.
Nice.
Watch out! I'm standing hot!
Should I ult now? Or
No,
Is
because
it the
most of them are
waste?
probably dead. Usually you want to ult when they're alive. I mean, it's gonna be most helpful if during a fight you can use it. Maybe I wouldn't use it usually to clean up a fight. I would use it at the opening of a fight or
Sure.
during the fight.
should I ult when a widow ults
Yeah,
right now?
because then yours will last. Then you will have an equal advantage with her, and you'll if you do it after her, then you actually last longer. So you'll know her time limit, and you'll have an oof. So you'll know when hers is ending, and you'll have like 2 seconds where she doesn't see you, and you can see her.
Okay.
Yeah, I've just kind of peaked all the damage, so gotta be careful of once again overstaying your welcome. Make sure you're not like standing still for the damage.
60 seconds.
You're very squishy, so you gotta back up when people are shooting at you.
Enemy over here!
Okay. So, I mean, our whole team died, but so maybe if we had just gotten picked sooner, we could have swung the fight, but obviously that didn't happen.
The widow is watching.
There.
No. Okay.
Nice,
Unlucky.
very nice shot, but it got you killed. So maybe we didn't need to engage that soon when our teammates weren't with us. Also, be careful about like sometimes just the pot shots you're taking at the Sigma, right? Like in that situation right there, you most certainly couldn't have killed Sigma when your whole team wasn't with you. So that's just revealing your position to their sniper when you're taking pot shots at the Sigma. Very nice. Yeah, get used to like exactly what you did there, like just rotating in between these kills and in between these shots, so that you're never letting their snipers know where you're at. That's in the sniper duel. 75% of the sniper duel comes down to who sees who first, who gets the jump, because you'll have a chance to take 2 shots. Oof. So once again,
I
there.
should have maybe rotated.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Watch for when he's on you, because then you want to make sure that you're using cover. Get around the corners from him. Right. Good positioning is usage of cover. Bad positioning is the absence of cover. So make sure you're getting around that corner so he can't see you when he's shooting at you.
Did I go back?
No, just let them push you.
High ground?
Sure, it's fine.
Nano boost administered.
Het universum zingt voor mij.
Mm,
10 seconds remaining.
Keep the defense up for a little longer.
My ultimate is charging.
yeah.
Yeah. Might have also been able to take top left when they were pushed
Over there?
towards- Yeah.
Yeah.
Let them up.
Exposed.
I've got you in my sights.
Take longer to line it up, especially if he's standing still. Don't reload when you have 20 ammo and can be shooting at things. No need.
Yeah.
Good awareness of the respawn. But yeah, like you get what I'm saying with the if you have 20 ammo and you could actively be shooting at things and you don't have a reason to back up, then don't back up, right? Because then you're just reloading when you don't need to. It's unnecessary. Okay. What were the things we were gonna talk about? We're gonna talk about how your movement messes with your aim. So I'm still streaming. Whoops, maybe I should have stopped, but I'm still streaming. If you want to see, so you want to make sure that you're paying very close attention to your crouch spamming and your movement, because if you are not, and are you watching the stream?
Yeah.
Cool. Because if you are aiming at a character and you're aiming straight at their head and you move to the right, well, that's going to throw your shot off. So you need to obviously adjust to the side. So if you're moving right, you move left. If you're moving left, you move right. Because otherwise, if you don't move anything, you just are messing with your shot. Same thing with crouching. You're just going to move it into a body shot if you're not accounting for the crouching. So that means you have to aim up while you're crouching. So then... especially if you're adding them together, sometimes what you're doing is you're moving to the bottom left or something like that, and then you're just and you're like crouch spamming and doing this, and like you end up throwing off your shots, and you go to the side at the last second. A simple way to do this, I mean, for me, the way that I've always done it with Widowmaker is just get into the habit, and this doesn't need to be always in forever and always with this, but you can get into the habit of, yes, crouch spam and move around while you're lining up your shot, but when you take the shot, pause, and take the shot, and then go and then move around, pause, move around, and the pause needs to be as long as your shot is, which is half a second, right? So crouch, let's crouch, crouch, right, like something like that, right? Where you're moving around until you're taking the shot, and usually end the I try to take my shot while I'm standing. That way you don't have the variable of crouching mixed in. Make sense?
I think so.
Yep. It just means that that it also just makes crosshair placement easier, because you aim at head level and you don't need to. If you're crouching, the head level becomes different, and now you have to have this adjustment. So if you always take your shot while standing, you don't have to adjust up as much. Easier shots, and you're not throwing your shots off as much. What What else were we going to talk about? Did we have anything else we were going to talk about? I feel like there's maybe something else, but I can't remember.
Like priorities of who to get. You said like to get the snipers is high priority to get them
Yeah,
to
you
go
always-
for the healers and.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we kind of already covered that, so you can probably just let's see how much time we have. We have 15 minutes. I mean, maybe you can queue up and then we can leave in the middle of the game if we need to, time-wise. But yeah, sniper priorities. Like if you're in that duel, take the duel first because they're going to be the easiest character for you to kill, and I think you were seeing more success with it once you started doing that. Than when you were you were just taking so many pot shots at their tank when they have snipers that's revealing your position, and now their sniper's going to know where you are and you don't know where they're at, which just is going to give them the advantage in that sniper duel. So be careful about taking pot shots at the tank. You can most certainly do that if you kill their snipers, or if you don't see their snipers, just note that you'll have to rotate soon. So if you're taking shots at the tank and they have snipers, maybe you take some shots and then do a rotation so that you're not in the same exact place as you were before. Sniper duels is all about getting the right angles and making sure that you're always seeing them before they see you. So if you're here and they're down there, or they're over here, you have a lot of different options. I can go up here, I can peek from here, I could go up through here, I could peek here for a shot, wait a couple of seconds, peek again. You really have a lot of options. We could go all the way up to here, we could go up to here. Like, you have so many different options to work with. So it's all about taking the different angles and working around those. Alright, cool. Are you queued up for another game?
Yeah, it's still waiting though. So.
Alright, cool. Yeah, I think that you're dying sometimes unnecessarily. Like, you're just kind of, you end up overstaying your welcome on different angles and just be aware of when they're shooting at you, right? If they're shooting back at you, you gotta respect it and be very careful and like be backing up and repositioning. Like it's probably almost better that as soon as they start looking and shooting at you, that you rotate or pause so they look away before you re-engage. Because if they're looking at you and shooting at you and you're just standing there, they're gonna shred you. So you have to be very careful when you're staying on an angle for an extended period of time. Okay. We might leave this game after a couple minutes, potentially.
Yeah, just tell me when I have to leave. So.
Yeah, that way we can get to the wrap up review in the. Oh no, we have 15 minutes. Sorry, I don't usually start on 15s, so it confuses me sometimes. Okay, so we have 15 minutes, so we can do this for like 8 minutes or so, something like that.
Yeah.
Or 7 minutes. Should be good.
The Earth are so varied, but one human lifespan is not enough to see it all.
It is not even letting me spectate you guys yet. Oh, there we go.
Que la magie opère.
And stay safe.
I need healing. That's better. Clear the enemies of the heal me.
So, there, Ash got the jump on you because she peeked from a different angle, right? Yeah.
It takes more than that to kill me.
Taking hold of the objective.
Should I take high ground or?
Yeah. Maybe after you kill Ash, yeah. Sure. Now you have less pressure.
Oh.
Yeah, you just gotta be very, very careful. Good shots though, but when you're dropping, maybe you could be more intentional to like try to run around corners. Like you could drop into that window on point or something like that to give yourself different angles.
Try to have more of an escape plan.
Yeah,
or...
exactly. Yep. Especially when you don't have grapple. If you have grapple, grapple's kind of the escape plan.
Do something. This ends now.
Didn't give yourself great angles there.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you couldn't really see very much from that far back on point, so maybe taking further on the right hand side, or like on you can do your back left, you could do their on the right hand side, but probably don't want to do there where you can't see anything.
No one can resist my spell. This almost makes it
Meteor strike.
provoke me.
Good job disengaging.
Heal me!
I guess
Heal me!
some of them are just deaf.
No, okay, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
No way, okay.
All hail the queen!
Oof. And remember that sometimes when it comes to divey characters, that positioning yourself further away from your team means more isolation, and you're easier to dive. Yep, and you always want to be careful about save, because you didn't have Doomfist on you yet. I don't think you had a need to use your grapple. Saving grapple for when he jumps on you is going to be a lot more effective in terms of getting away. Oh, your healers aren't great, are they?
I mean, we can still win though, maybe.
Yeah, until you have to leave in like 2 minutes.
Okay.
Meteor strike. The objective is in my hands.
Yep, even
I
when
should
you're
have made a backdraft.
yeah, even when you're grappling to escape, like it seems like it's always rushed and you don't know where to grab onto. Like always, and you're also like getting caught on things as well, right? So like look to just try to put as much space between you as possible.
No one can resist my spell.
Yeah, so if you know that you can't get out, just let them kill you. That way you don't stagger. Because the longer you're going, the more you're just going to end up staggering.
Soit.
Oh yeah. If the point is okay. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. They
Should I
weren't.
go over here or should I go take a position over here?
I don't even think you can go to the right side.
Yeah, true. Okay.
So, bit slow in getting to the fight.
Show me all the objectives.
Still winnable.
ปกป้องชีวิต
No.
This ends now.
They're Anna. What?
Yeah, this is, could be a situation. Why don't you go ahead and leave? Whenever you get a chance. Yeah, because I think we have to wrap up anyways. But this could be a situation where like you do have a lot of pressure from the Doomfist. They have Soldier and Hanzo, and it's not like this is like explicitly a Widowmaker map. Like it's Widowmaker does fine on it, but it's also not like not her best map. So that'd be a situation once again where you can just you could think about swapping to another character that might be better suited. Okay, let's wrap up. Review main points. Ult usage, I think you did pretty fine. Besides, just make sure that you're using them like during the fights. Like if you don't want to like clean up a fight with it, because then it's you've already won the fight at that point. So why ult when you've already won? Because then it just ends up kind of wasting it. So if you've won the fight, then just clean them up normally. But you can use it to engage a fight, or like you said, you can use it after they've ulted, or you can use it during a fight. I just wouldn't use it after a fight or in between fights, if it's too far in between. And then that was pretty much about it with ult usage. So that's a low to medium priority for you to work on. Ability usage. Venomines are fine, but grapples, just a reminder with your grapples to like when you're trying to escape, you're going, I'd say, too vertical, because especially when there's no high grounds. If there's high grounds, then of course just grapple up to a high ground and you're fine. But what you were doing is when there were no high grounds available and the Doomfist was on you, you were just like grappling straight up, and then where you going? You're just landing straight back down on top of the Doomfist, right? So look to grapple more vertically. So when you don't have a high ground to get to, if you have a high ground, go to the high ground. But if you don't have a high ground, grapple more vertically, or sorry, horizontally, so that you can put more distance between you and him, which will help you stay away and survive longer. But have a place in mind that you're going to be able to go to, so you can have more survivability and be able to more effectively use your grapple. So hold on to it and save it if they have characters who can dive you and get on top of you easily, right? Because that's going to be your biggest means of survivability. Overall, that was maybe a tiny bit higher than ult usage, but still like a low to medium priority. Mechanics, we talked about crosshair placement, head level, make sure you're aiming where you know people are going to be. We talked about warm-ups and aim training, and just make sure to keep doing that and be consistent with it if you want to have consistent aim. We talked about flicking and when it's needed and when it's not needed. Don't use it if they're just kind of standing there. You can do minor flicks, but don't go all over the place, because then, and I think I noticed that you're trying to work on that while you're playing, and it looked like you were doing a bit better with it. You weren't just like all over the place, but it's just something to keep working on and practicing. It might even it might take you a minute to get used to it, and to be able to effectively work with it. think that's a lot of different things there. Don't take pot shots at the tank if you don't need to. Like if you that's gonna reveal your position. If they have nothing to contest you, like no snipers, then you're gonna play differently. Team comp dictates play style. So if they don't have any snipers, then sure, take pot shots to the tank, right? But if they have snipers, you gotta be careful and take them out first. And overall, that was all like a medium, maybe like a higher end of a medium priority for you to work on. Next comes positioning. I mean, I think you're pretty decent, but like make sure that you are you're taking different angles. Take sharper angles against snipers. Take wider angles again when they don't have anything to contest you from a distance. So take as wide angles as you're able to. And just make sure you're using cover. Good positioning is the usage of cover. Bad positioning is the absence of cover. Make sure that you are. Let's see what else is there in positioning. Trying to think what category to put you overstaying your welcome is. I don't know if that's an awareness or a positioning thing. It's kind of like a survivability thing. So I don't know. Let me just, I guess, add it into positioning. Make sure that you're not like you die. Most of your deaths came from the fact that you would just like stand here and stand here and stand here, and the soldier would look at you and start shooting at you, and you'd still stay here and just eat the shots. Make sure that when you get shot at, back up, take a different angle, or back up and just like get them to stop shooting at you, and then keep shooting at them. Overall, that was also like a medium, maybe higher end of medium, somewhere in that range. And then finally, awareness, pay attention to where's their team, where's your team, be aware of your surroundings. Overall, that was like a low to medium. So to put that all in order, number one probably goes to also within mechanics also comes the crouching stuff as well. Forgot about that. And the reloading. Don't reload when you reload when you do need to. So like if you're at 5 ammo and you have nothing going on, reload. And if you have 20 ammo and have people to shoot at, don't reload. Overall mechanics is number one. Number two is positioning. Number three is probably grapple usage. 4 ult usage, and 5 awareness. And that's about it. Any final questions?
Yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of things I just need to, or bad habits I need to work on,
Yeah.
and practice different things, and yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what more to say.
Awesome.